Welcome to the LinkUp Before the Ballot series. I am your host, Chris. Thank you for tuning in. With us in studio today, we have the candidate for Georgetown Central, Miss Carmen McField.
Yes. Hey, guys. Hi.
I know some people say McField, but McField.
McField, the real Caymanian way.
Yeah, man.
I tried that one day, and my sister-in-law said, "Please stop the foolishness. Just say it's not no McField, it's McField."
So where part are you from?
Georgetown Central.
Are you from Georgetown?
Georgetown Central. I born and grew up here. My family, my father's from Cayman. My mother is Central, right opposite the Compass.
Okay.
My grandmother was Miss Bell. They used to call her Miss Bell Kruger.
Okay.
So they always hyphen the name of a female matron, I call her, because my grandfather was Kruger, and they always tie her with him. So they put Isabel was her first name,
Right.
and they put Kruger. So Bell
Kruger.
for short and Kruger. So that was always the
That's a pretty cool name, though.
Yeah.
Bell Kruger.
Bell Kruger. So
I would take that on.
So that was how they refer to people. It was always to show respect. Back in the days, it was con. And this was before my times. So when they say Mr., it was con William or con this or con that. And for the female, it was same thing, was con Evelyn or con this one or con that. That was referred to Mr. and Mrs. and putting reverence on the people name, on the individual name.
Next time I go to a restaurant, I'm going to make reservations under
Con.
Bell Kruger. Mr. Bell Kruger, right this way.
Yes, that's respect. That carried a lot. That name carried weight. Yes, yes. So that is where my grandmother. That was my grandmother. She passed a few years now. My mother name is Mavis Morris, and again, there was a big yard. We call it the big yard, and my grandmother had 18 children.
Damn.
18 children, 4 sets of twins.
Whoa. Don't
4
miss.
sets of twins. Now, come on, guys. So my family is huge. 4 sets of twins my grandmother had. My mother had 8 of us and 1 set of twins.
So question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Where y'all was sleeping?
I know, right? Where they all slept. And the little house was a small home. But what she done was baked and cooked and sold her baked goods.
Okay.
And she added on, and the property was quite a big property she had. So each child or sibling or children she had built their own homes on that property.
Okay.
So I grew up on that property until I was 3.5, and my mom moved into her home on Song Road, opposite the Water Authority. So that's where I grew up, on North Song Road. And in my grandmother's yard, they call it the big yard because all of the children had their own little homes in that one yard. And grandmother's house was the main house where everyone go for food, and they go for her to just care them and nurture them and so forth. But she was a wonderful lady. She also built up little red rooms on the property, and people that traveled from Jamaica and various places came and stayed at her property, at her yard. And she would always, it's sort of like the modern day bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
So that was back in the days, they didn't call it bed and breakfast.
She was ahead of her time, huh?
She was ahead of her time. She was a natural entrepreneur.
Right.
Baking, selling, providing, and then she created by having the
tourism product, man.
The tourism product, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. And this, back in those days, they talk about a village raise a child.
Yeah.
Her yard was that village. Everybody visited that yard, and she gave them something. And she also corrected and disciplined them also. So when cousin child come there, or niece's child come there, or her sister or brother's children came there, they were disciplined by her. She wasn't afraid to put a good ass in on them. So that was what you call a village raise a child.
I was literally talking about the other day. I was talking about the accents I used to pick up when I was younger.
Yes.
And I was like, you can't even do that no more.
No, that's against the law, under the child law.
I thought I turned out all right.
We did. We all did turned out good, but we all got it. We all got the discipline. Because schooling.
The other day I was at the beach, and there were some tourists out there, and oh gosh. Okay, anyway. So it was a family. And there was a young boy, and I guess his sister, and his sister were troubling him.
Yeah.
It must have true son, and he hear or something, and he was vexed. And he start cussing her mother, effing this, that, blah, 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 right?
A child?
Yeah, right from the parents. Parents didn't blink. And I thought to myself, the moment I would have thought about that, I would have lost my teeth.
You come out the wrong way, you look the wrong way, you get your... My mother would say, don't let me slap your face off. And then they would beat you, and then you cry, and then they say, you want me to give you something to cry for?
Yeah,
I say, you just did. You just gave me something to cry for. I'm crying because of the beating.
I used to get beat in school. Can't do that no more neither.
No, so we're coming from a quite a
different generation.
A different generation, yes, we are.
So which school did you go to growing up?
Growing up, I went to Georgetown Primary School. Yeah. And then on to middle school.
Question.
Yes.
People say I'm crazy.
Yes.
Anna had a little farm inside there, not true?
Where, Georgetown Primary School? Well,
with some animals?
Yes.
See, I knew I wasn't crazy.
No, you're not. We had chickens.
Yeah, man.
We had little rabbits.
Yeah, man.
But this is back in the day. I'm talking about.
We went on a tour there back
in the 70s, though, in the early 80s.
In the 80s, when I first went to school, we did a tour out there.
Yes.
And I remember seeing that, and people thought I was crazy. But
no, they had a little farm there.
Thank you. and everybody that doubted me.
No, but
I know. Born too late. That's a problem.
You just frightened me when you say you visited back in the 80s.
Yeah, I born 84.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so I just thought you were a little younger.
Yeah, I getting old now, but my knees feel the worse. So you went to
Georgetown Primary School, and it was middle school back in the days.
Right,
middle school opened up in 1985. My brother, one of my siblings, were one of the first classes that entered in middle school when they opened back in 1985, and then from there it was called Cayman Islands High School, not John Gray.
Okay.
Yes.
And then after that, what was like your career path? What did
so for me, I ended up going back in the days. They had a community college, and the community college was at the Tower Building, and that was in town. That was destroyed during Hurricane Ivan, and they had when that got destroyed, they moved it to the current location now, which is on Walker's Road. And from there, that was what I done. I studied, and then I done a lot of the online courses and so forth. And now I'm certified a senior compliance officer. I have a compliance diploma. I also have a trust diploma. Trust estate.
Compliance is huge now.
Compliance is huge, and also while doing a degree, I also pursued my associates and everything. So it's just doing various things while working in the offshore industry. I work in the private sector for many years. I think it's 32 years now after leaving government. When I left high school, I worked 4 years, 5 years 2 years at the hospital and 4 years at the immigration department. And I left and went to the private sector, and that was it. I didn't return to government at that point, but I do have working at the hospital. Back then, it was the old hospital, not the current one, not the one.
I remember the old one.
The old one.
Yeah, man.
And then
the outdoor seating.
Yes. So that gave me that opportunity to understand the way that the government functioned and so forth. And working there and dealing with customers and dealing with the civil servants and dealing with the various laws at immigration. I have at least almost 5 years at immigration.
I wanted to ask now, so this is something like the older people say.
Yeah.
So what you want to go leave your good job for?
I know, right? I must tell you, I have always been product of community, giving back in community. I have always done that because I've grown up doing it. I live by example because my eldest sister who passed away now, she passed away 9 months ago from cancer. And I grew up in a church, United Church, Amstead United, the Presbyterian Church on the waterfront. I've been involved with Girls Brigade for over 43 years. Started Girls Brigade at age 4+, and I'm still involved with Girls Brigade. I now I'm a assistant leader. I teach the younger girls at Girls Brigade. So giving back was part of my life. It's seeing, living by example and seeing what my mother done, my sister done, and my other siblings. And that was part of how I was raised and part of who I am. It's being very rooted in the community and very involved and very grounded. And I felt that that was where my life path was, from growing in the church, taking part in church activities, youth groups. Back in the days, it was called Christian Endeavor at Emsley Church. It is now called the youth group, but it was called Christian Endeavor.
Yeah, I grew up on youth group.
Yeah, so that was what my life was like. It wasn't going and doing things, partying and hanging out with friends. And I never smoked and drink in my entire life. I never liked the idea. I never liked it. It was because I was so grounded in doing such positive things in the church and being around my grandmother, being around my mother a lot, spending quality time with her and my older siblings, like my sister who passed. I have always looked up to her as a role model and follow suit. And that means that I had to always give back. She was always, when she traveled quite a bit for Girls Brigade and for the church. It was always bringing back something to share with children in the community or families who was less fortunate. And I always picked up that same habit. I felt that I was fortunate enough to have a good home, a family that cared and loved me, and siblings. Even though we argue with each other and fight for who's going to get what, we were a loving family. We knew that we had to take care of each other, and we knew we had to take care of others in the community who was less fortunate. That means if that hand down or giving them new things, if you go away, it was not always about buying things for yourself. It was giving back by buying enough to share with somebody else like that, like yourself.
So what was like the actual decision
for me to get involved,
to transition out the private sector and want to run for public office?
When I look at my life, every day I was leaving work, 6:30, 6 o'clock, and going back and doing community work. Whether that was going to Girls Brigade on a Wednesday and teaching, whether that was get involved with the youth ministry or giving back when it comes to mission outreach. And my mission outreach really started when COVID hit. Okay. When COVID hit, I resigned from a job because the job was very toxic at the time, and it was very difficult mentally to have to work from home and not being able to function with a non-functionable system in a company that did not have a backup plan. It was like you had to work from home, but there was no systems to work with. There was no plan on what you should do. And your hours working from home just kept going longer and longer and longer. I just said, okay, my community is calling. There's people that's less fortunate than me. I could now step back from this and go into doing something with the church. And we started a program called the EATS program at my church. That program where the church had someone give a donation to the church and along with what the church collect, and we started providing groceries for families in need and families that lost their jobs. Whether that was through the hospitality industry or whatever. A lot of persons at that point lost jobs, and children was struggling, and families was really needed that assistance. And our church, a group of us came up with the idea, let's start a food bank. And we started this food bank, and we were going out delivering groceries and helping people who did not get groceries, got food cards. And that was one way for us to give back. And I started to go knock on doors and sit and spend time with my seniors at that point. And not only spending time, I was taking them out for drives. I was listening to them, whether they wanted to just sing and then talk about the old days and listen to their stories and listen to what their struggles were. And I started to enjoy that more than ever because I realized that was my passion and my knack. That was where I really connect well. I connect with trying to really get into them and understand where their thought process was at that point and understand what they were feeling. And it took away their stress. It took away the things that they were feeling that made them feel like they were not connecting with the rest of the world, and the world was shutting down from them, which the world did. It did shut down from everyone. And that allowed me then to connect with them and give back. So I started to do things like that, and I enjoyed it. And I done it for exactly 1 year when I got 6 job offers. 6 job offers after exactly 12 months
To go back into the
to go
private
back
world.
into working. And I decided I would just go back to work and just do it part-time. And I done it after work, and I continue doing that. And when I look back and I see where our country going right now, I said, well, a few persons asked me. First of all, I was asked by a friend of mine's to run, and I said, no, that's not for me. I don't want to do it. I just want to do what I'm doing in the community, and I would help a political team who I see that would best suit the needs of the people in the community, because I'm on the ground. I've been doing this for years. I know what they need. I hear them. I feel what their issues are, and I know it bothers me because I could only do a little. I can't do a lot, but the little I could do seems like a world to them. It come across to some people like it's a big deal, and I feel like I'm doing more than I think I'm really giving, and I'm impacting people more than I think I am. So I need to continue this. And when they came and asked me to run 2 years ago, I am like, no, I'm just going to pray about this. I really don't want to do it. I'm going to pray. And it took me about 6 months. And then Dan approached me, who's the head of the party, Dan Scott, and he said that he heard a lot of good things about me, and they done their background checks, and they came back with no negative, nothing. No one could see anything, or there was no skeletons in my closet. Basically, I live a life true to who I was and how I was raised, and I had to keep that. And I basically know.
I've
I
heard
said,
about Dan's recruitment process.
yes, it was, and I was like the third person he brought on. Third, apart from himself and Gary and Craig,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was one of the first females and one of the ones that the main founders of the group, because it just had himself and Gary, and they was like, Carmen, you have to, and I'll pray about it. But Dan kept on me. He kept on me, and I said, I'm still praying. I'm still praying. He kept on me. He never gave up. He never gave up, and I like, okay, I think this is time. I'm doing this work unofficially in the community and touching lives and doing it with a passion and because I truly care. Why not just do it officially? Why not step up and really put myself out there and do that officially? And that is when I decided I said, yes, I think I need to do this. The people is asking. And I asked a few persons in the community who lived in Georgetown Central, do you think I should do? They say, Carmen, that would be delightful. You need to do this. That
Yeah.
would be, you're doing it already. There's nothing different. You don't need to even ask permission for this. You just need to go and do it. See how people react to it. And a lot of person has reacted positive. Not only the seniors, but also a lot of the young people, a lot of the children who are impacted through church and through Girls Brigade and so forth.
So you said that you had saw what was happening and it was bothering you.
Yes.
What are some of the concerns you have? Because you have kids, right?
I have 2 adult kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your concerns for their future and in the future of Cayman that I guess you feel that is different than when you were growing up?
Oh my God, it's so different for them. It's just scary. I recall like it was just so easy for me to. I got into a job 2 weeks after less than 2 weeks after I graduated from high school. A job offers came from the government. It is so difficult for young persons who work hard in school, come out with great passes, I call it, and go off to university and come back. They could even just graduating from high school. Just the mere fact to graduate from high school and to get into a technical field or to get into some job in the private sector, it is like trying to climb Mount Everest. It is just so difficult. And I realized that the times are difficult. It is different. So I am not able to, like those young persons today, my children, it's not easy for them to find good jobs or find a job at all. I am now dealing with young persons that come into me asking me to help them find jobs, go through their resumes, vet them. I do sort of like practice interviews with them. I go through reviewing their resumes. I go through calling persons and business owners and ask them to give them the opportunity. I call other agencies in the government and ask persons I know who's HR managers, okay, can you review a resume that the person submitted a week, 2 weeks, a month ago, and tell me if you see it in your system, and what are some of the opportunities you could find in that organization for them. And I'm doing that, calling and emailing and doing these, and it is very difficult. And some of those young persons are being are at the stage of discouragement now and going through depression, and it really bothers me because I didn't have to go through that when I left high school back in 1990 when I graduated. It was much easier. Jobs were being thrown at you.
Right.
There was the offers, the opportunities was great for us, but it's not the same now. And my children, I know it's hard for them. I had my daughter go UCCI straight for like 2.5 years, and then she's now doing her bachelor's online. And she was lucky that she applied a few places and she got a job somewhere. But it's just like pulling teeth at this point. And I know a lot of our young people are very discouraged. And I don't understand why it's so difficult that we have foreign persons coming into our country and they could get a job immediately from friends recommending them, and our own Caymanians can't. But they go into universities, working hard, doing well in school, and they just can't find a job.
I've heard you say that housing, owning a home should not be a luxury. It should be an opportunity.
That's right. It should be. Why is it that it's so difficult for our people in our own country to get a home? Why? It starts with because we didn't make it accessible for them. We're making it very difficult for our people. Why is it that we don't have housing programs? Why is it the banks can't work with a lot of our young people, or just our Caymanians in general? The banks are making over 25% of profit each year. 25% from just simple loans in doing business on this island. When I look, I came from a background in finance, working as a compliance officer, a trust officer, setting up companies, working in the offshore industry, and I see the amount of money that we generate in this country just from management companies, corporate services. The banks make billions of dollars, millions on a yearly basis. SEMA do well from the companies that set up here. Why is it so difficult? But yet we offering concessions to the billionaires that coming in here to do these projects and build these big condos. But we can't put programs in place to make it accessible for you, me, and my children, and your children to come. Why is it so hard for our children to get those homes? And they promise from year after year and election after election for the last 20 years I've been hearing affordable homes. I'm only seeing that in certain districts, and it's only becoming popular or prominent now in the last couple of years after people just asking for it. Bordentown just started to do some in the last, I would say, 8 years. You start seeing a few in Bordentown. East End just started to do some. And we got tons of land in East End.
Northside as well.
Northside. So Jay done an awesome job in Northside with making it available for the last 4 years.
It's a brand new district, boy.
That's a whole new district. I drove through there.
I can't lie. That's a brand new district.
I drove through Northside, and I had to ask my husband to stop and ask, and please tell me if this is the same dock that we came to maybe the year before when I last went there. It's the one on the other side of the dock. You got a big parking lot, a huge parking lot.
Listen, a basketball court,
pickleball court, a pickleball. I couldn't believe it.
The parking for the trailer boats, the public bathrooms.
What happened there?
Boy.
And our public spaces, such as our playing fields in East End. Over that playing field in East End, been there from I was a child in middle school.
You talking about the one across from the Heritage Ground?
The one from the Heritage Ground. No, well, that's the property been there, but the playing field went lately. The Heritage Ground. Why isn't it that playing field? Yeah, that same playing field. That's been there over 15, 20 years.
It's a park now, I think.
It's a park.
And they have another playing field up behind Bach Road, by the Civic Center.
Yes.
There's another playing field up
That's
there.
the one. That one
Okay.
and the one by. Why is it that they don't have bathrooms on those playing fields? Northside, when they go there to play football, a lot of the teams got to drive some of the children to Northside to use the bathroom. I did not know that until about a month ago.
I would have said you lying.
No, I'm telling you, no bathrooms. What about Georgetown?
Yeah.
Where's the bathroom at the annex? I don't know if the bathroom. They play football there. Do
on
they
the
have?
other side, but I don't know.
I thought it was part of the school. Why don't they have it for the football?
Yeah, it is part of the school.
It's part of the school.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I think
I'm. There's a few places around. We got Public Beach, who has a public bathroom. I have been camping next to the Governor Beach for 33 years, and they're still using those little portable potties.
Yeah.
Why is it that if it's public space and it's public, they don't build a proper facility for Caymanians and other persons who's using those public spaces? They should have it properly set up and manned and operated where they got it locked down. They got it set up that a certain time they have people go in and supervise it, clean it, and make sure that they lock it up at a certain time and say, okay, it's open from this time in the morning and it closes at this time at night. So there's no illegal stuff going on, or things don't happen there that they got to question it and they got to investigate it at this point. Have it lock up. Lock it up. Got someone to go and say, we give you the permit, we hiring you, and this is your job to do public spaces and public places, such as bathrooms.
So let's start let's start at the central level of Georgetown, and then let's move to the wider community.
Yes.
What do you feel are some of the key issues in Georgetown Central that the people are suffering with?
Yeah, so what I notice is a lot of our seniors do not have accessibility to places for them to use on a weekly or daily basis. I think we should have a facility such as a recreation center for us to use it, a multipurpose center for us to go and have various things, because I set up 3 NPOs in the last I would say 15 years, between 15 years to now.
You really in the community, man.
Yes. So the first NPO I set up 16 years ago was Prospect Community Group. The Prospect Red Bay Community Group was started by me from my living room with 3 persons from my living room. And that's over 16 years now. Oh. From my living room. It started to grow and I moved it to my back patio. And then it started to get real big. At that point, I went to the Seafarers Hall. I asked the president at the time, he passed away now, Mr. Jeffrey McLean, if we could use it once a month. He said I could use it anytime, just not on the day that the Seafarers meet. And I told him I only need it for 1 day out of the month. And I started doing community meetings from that. That has now bloomed. If you go back and check, that's an NPO that's now set up. The Prospect and Red Bay Community Group. Then I moved to Georgetown. After that, I passed that on and I moved to Georgetown and started Cayman Kind Action Committee with Romelia. Welcome. Started that. I set that up from my corporate background and doing that and setting up companies and so forth. I set up that NPO, and then from there I set up another one called Be Kind, Be Humble, Be the Light. That one is to give back to the nurses and the hardworking doctors at the end of the year, Christmas. We give little gift baskets and donation to the Pines, such as toiletries and fruit basket to the workers, and some for those clients at the Pines. And the nurses and doctors at HSA get fruit baskets and various gift baskets at the end of the year. That NPO is just for that, just to make them feel appreciated. And that is part, and the Cayman Kind Action Committee NPO is basically to engage with our seniors and also some single mothers who struggles, to give them the opportunity to have somewhere to outlet for those seniors to come together twice a week. And we do a club called the Chill Club with them. That allowed them to do their art and craft and allow them to come and play bingos and dominoes.
Where would you do that?
We do that at the McField Center on School Road.
Okay.
That's the only little center we could use, but that's being used whenever we get the
So
opportunity.
you want to build a center
A proper
dedicated.
dedicated for them, because that center is strictly used. It was purchased by the government after Dr. Frank was in, but that center is purposely used for the after school program. Miss Beulah McField used that for the after school
Okay.
program in Stewart. So it's really not for those seniors. We just asking permission to use it temporarily.
So okay, so the older people.
So we need a proper a center, a proper facility and a center for them, for the older, for anyone who want to use it as a recreation center, a proper recreation center we need in Georgetown. We also need to have a community bus for the community to allow us to pick up seniors from their various homes and get them to these activities such as the fishing tournaments and the fishing trips we take them on, taking out for breakfast once a week, taking them to have coffee. And we don't have the opportunity to bus them because we don't have the
So these were programs that you offered for
yes,
them?
we set up these programs. We take them for we offer them breakfast. We offer them coffee days. We offer them fishing tournaments. 3 times out of the year, we take them to Panama on a what do you call a retreat to Panama for the weekend. We took them to Cayman.
I can't lie, I'm pretty impressed by your community
Yes.
work here.
So this is through the NPO I told you I set up, and this is just asking for private donations. But we struggle with it. We're struggling with it. We're struggling with getting the funds. We're struggling with keeping it up because it's just not properly funded. It's just overlooked. It's something that they don't see. We can't, without putting our seniors at the forefront and giving them the dignity and the respect they deserve from how they, because of the fact they build the country to where it is today. It's those same seniors, your grandparents, your great grandparents. Without putting them at the forefront and showing them the respect that they need and the dignity, our country is failing. The seniors and our children.
I have
We
a soft spot
failing
for
our
seniors,
country.
man.
My
Dad's 82 this year, and he's a seafarer.
Wow.
He had to go to sea when he was 16.
Yes.
His father died, I think, when he was 13. So
He had no choice,
He
right?
had to be the man of the house, take
There
care of
we
his
go.
mother, and went to
Wow.
sea at 16. Yeah, for 27, 30 years, something
Well,
like that.
he's it's the same for most of our seniors. My father was the same. He went to sea very young.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
and I see my dad now. Thankfully, I'm very fortunate. He's in good
Yeah.
health, and he's still very
Yeah.
independent.
Yeah.
But it would be nice for him to have because he loves going to the seafarer meetings because obviously he gets
There
to see
we
his old
go.
friends
Yes.
and talk about the old days and times like
Yes,
that. So
yes.
I do have a very, very soft spot for
Yeah,
that.
but
for
they
that stuff.
deserve that.
Absolutely.
A lot of them feel
We would
like
have
they're
nothing without
forgotten.
them.
Exactly. They feel
Absolutely
like they're
nothing
forgotten. They're forgotten. They actually feel like they're forgotten. And because we started this program and keep them engaged twice a week, not once, but twice a week, they are most grateful for this. They are most like it's a big thing. They look forward to go. When they don't go or something come up, like for example, maybe the Easter weekend and we didn't have it the Thursday before, it's like, oh, or the Monday, of course it was a holiday. They're like, oh my gosh, like, so for some of them I would just invite them to the beach. Because as I say, I've been camping on the beach for like 30 something years. And for some of them on that Monday, we say, oh, come by the beach and get some food. And we'll have Cayman conchs, we have stew conchs and we have turtle meat and we have our rice and bean and all of that stuff we have on the beach. So a lot of them, like a few of them I brought to the beach. Invited them there to the beach. But it is difficult without having the proper resources and the proper facilities to really put that in full gear and offer that on a higher level where it feels like it's a real opportunity for seniors from all over the island. We don't want it to be just geared just for the Georgetown community. We want it for the entire Cayman Islands.
What were some of your thoughts? I guess around like I've heard you speak about crime in your area. How is that? How have you seen that impact the area, and what are your ideas around the crime?
Yeah, I have seen just outside here in this building where we are, in the central Georgetown area, crime has gotten at the highest. And we got things like gun crime, things like murders, various things at the bars, and robberies, and we got the fights, and we got all sort of crimes. And I'm talking about stabbings and shootings and and near death, and it is just crazy. I've never had to, I never encountered that kind of crime that we're having today when I was growing up in Central Georgetown. And all of my family, I'm talking about cousins, distant cousins and close cousins, all live in the central part, right off of Shaden Road here. And that the crime that we've seen and we experience that we're hearing today is something I've never heard when I was growing up. Never heard of it. And it really making me, it's scaring me. And I'm certain that a lot of our persons in our community is afraid of where the country is going, and how are we dealing with that? How are we as a society dealing with it and tackling it? Are we just looking over our shoulder, or just ignoring it and say, oh, it'll just go away? It won't. It will get worse if we don't start to nip it in the bud. We have to nip it in the bud. And a lot of that stems from the weak immigration systems we have. We have a very weak border control, because we don't know who's in our country, who's doing these crimes. We don't know, it may be some of our own people, but where's the influence coming from? Where's the influence coming from? What's the real number of persons in our country? We don't know. We say it's what, 80 something thousand population and 20 something. I don't think so. I think it's more than that. I think that we have let our guard down, and our border control is out of control. We don't have no proper systems in place, and we have ignored it and think it's just going to vanish and go away on its own. We need to grab it. We need to take that bull by the horn, and we need to just take it back by enforcing proper immigration policies. We got the policies there, just no enforcement.
No enforcement is the problem.
And we're not taking it, and we just using it as a money revenue business, just to see how much more work permits we could just grant. And half of the persons here have no relevance here, because they really don't have work for them. And friends just taking out permits to help other friends. And hence the reason we don't know where these crimes are stemming from. It's a systemic problem. And we need to figure out how did we need to nip it and just clean it up. And we need to just, as my grandmother said, we got to put the handle in that kettle and just pull it back in. Because we do not have no control right now.
So on the campaign trail, I guess you started hitting the road officially as a member of the National Party back in January, February?
Yeah.
End of January, somewhere around there?
Officially, yes, back in January. But I was on the ground doing the work for a long time.
Yeah, but work
official,
on the National Party.
Yes.
What's that been like for you?
I have been getting great response from my people, because those are the same people I've seen in and out day after day, month after month, week after week. And they just enjoy seeing me. But what I had to do is ramp it up to go into various areas that I have never gone into to see others. Because the majority of the persons I've been working with are people who were mostly in need, or people who really needed that visit or needed that assistance in some way. And the other group of people that I'm now seeing is my entire constituency now. I'm seeing a little bit of everyone. So everyone enjoy having that meeting me and having a conversation and seeing my personality, and that I'm just really bubbling, really energetic, and I speak frank. I'm very to the point and very direct, but loving and kind with it, and just feel that I don't hold no reservations. I just believe in just being very honest, very direct, and just making people know where I'm coming from and where I stand in certain issues. I don't believe in just flirting things up. I believe in just being honest and very transparent.
Has there been anything that surprised you during your encounters going door to door with people?
Yes. I was taken back in some places in my own community that was just being ignored and overlooked for years. I have come across a senior couple who's living without restroom, a bathroom in their home. I've come across them not having no electricity. I came across a few of the seniors who deal with flooding, and when the flooding do occur in the yard they live, it's up to 3.5 inches in the water coming just inside of their homes, inside of their front doors, and coming right up to the floor and coming right under their bed. I have encountered seniors who still living and using what they call the little portable potties. And they're next door to their beds, and then got to go out into it and outhouse in the mornings, and I was like, we still live like this, and still pulling a wire to get electricity from the neighbor from the next door home, and it's like I can't. It just I was blown away. And I thought I have really touched just doing a lot of my community work before while working full time that I have, but I did not realize that some of the same homes I was going to and crossing that I wasn't. I didn't get the opportunity to go in because at that point that the persons didn't really open up to you at that point. They was afraid. And then when I knock on the door, say, oh, can I have a word? Or just introducing myself to say, oh, I just want to say hello because I've always seen you around and just see them on the street but not really gone to their home. I had the opportunity. Some of them I know, but I only see them on the street.
Why have they not been helped all this time?
I have no idea. This is one of the things that really got me and really had me. Literally my heart was bleeding when I see it. And that motivated me to say, I have to step up now. There's no reason for me not to go and do it full. Just go full force now, Carmen. Do not say no. I have to do it. This is a calling. This is a job that needs to be done. And I do not understand why we got a department, we got a hard-working civil servants, and we got a department of children and family services or social services. They work really hard. A lot of them work hard. And it's not an easy fix. We got a lot of people who's living in deplorable. We just got to put what policies we have, we got to utilize them. And what we don't have, we got to enforce and just add to them to make it easy and accessible for all. We can't have help some and leave some behind. It's just not right.
Is it a situation where they don't have pension money to pay for electricity, or what exactly?
They don't. Some of them are living with this. I think they're getting indigent assistance from the Department of Social Services, which is like $1,200. But with that, they have to buy food, pay utilities,
probably get medicine,
get medication, all of this stuff. And $1,200 don't take you far.
No.
And they can't work because they're over the age. So it really hurt me. Hurt me to the point that I went and I got some bed sheets for some. I helped them with various. There is so much. They had so much needs. I did not know at that point where to start. I just wanted them to feel comfortable. Just somewhere comfortable, like just feel like would a fan help you at this point? Clean bed sheets, some clean wash rags, some soap, some this, some that. What? Just something, the basic things, just to make them feel loved and comfortable. And then the harder things we could try to tackle. But at this point, I can't do it. My hands are tied. I just can't. I'm a normal citizen like you and anyone else. But I'm doing my best to do what I can. And I kept a record of it. I went as far as some of them were paying down on a property for years and they had no one to guide them on the legal ramification and what to do to secure that property because they paid down at a certain point and they thought they were losing their property because they didn't pay the full amount or continue to pay. Right. And I had to go and be the mitigator with the real estate agent and the lawyers to assist the senior because they did not have that. They
didn't have the help.
They didn't have the help and they didn't understand. So I had to step in to say, please, I would be willing to come with this lady to help. Can you please explain what's happening? And it hurt me because they don't deserve that. And they don't have children. And they don't have someone that could go stand there and fight for them. And I realized that my job is bigger than I thought. And it's a job that someone that truly cares needs to step up and do. And I feel that with the passion I have and the drive I have and what I've been doing in the past, and the love I have for people and what I was taught and my integrity and my morals and what my mother taught me and what my grandmother taught me, I just have to just show that to the rest of the world now. I can't sit back because at the end of the day, Cayman is for us. It is for me. It's for all of us. And we have to secure and fight for this country because if not, we lose it. There's no one going to come and say, we got to take care of you and we got to secure this country for the Cayman people and our children. No one will do it. They got to take advantage and take it over. So I have to stand up and say, I have nowhere else to go. My children have nowhere else to go because my husband is Caymanian and I'm Caymanian. So another country won't take me because when I get on American Airline and British Airways and I go to another man country, they gonna give me a stamp my passport and say I give you 6 months. Sort yourself out or you go back. So I gotta stay here and fight here and take care of my country for my people and for my children and grandchildren. Nobody else can fight for it. So Carmen gotta stand up and fight. And that's where I come in. Right?
Well said.
True.
Well said.
True blue Caymanian, true blue Georgetowner, fighting for her country because nobody gonna fight for it.
So what's next on the agenda before the big day on April 30th for you?
For me, it is just getting the message out now, letting the people know that our party, the Cayman Islands National Party, is coming with great ideas. We come in with policies, solutions to our ideas, not just ideas and just talk. We come in with real solutions. We're all experienced, real knowledgeable persons that come in because I'm coming with a very diverse knowledge of the finances and the financial world. I'm coming very diverse of community, being a community advocate. I'm coming very diverse of being a true Caymanian, a true blue Georgetowner to the bone, who love their people and who would do things and get things done. Getting things when you see it's the lack of is to really come up with the solution to say, let's get that fixed, let's get that done. We know who we could reach out to. We know there's a solution for this. That is what we're coming with, and we're doing it as a team. It's not one as my mother would say, God for all, but one for man, one for you, or all for you, but God for all. Meaning it's all about you, but it's God for all of us. So it takes a village to raise the whole community in the whole country. So we got to come together as that community and that village and raise each and every one of our children and each and every one of our people and do it collaboratively. It's one can't do it. One person can't do it. So that was the mindset in the past where one felt that they had all of the power to do it all and beat their chest, and that's not the case. We have to come together and do it collaboratively as a team. And when you find that broken down mindset where people can't do it, work together, that the problem comes where some get left behind. What happened in our districts where Georgetown didn't get housing or Georgetown didn't get the other things that was promised is in Northside got it alone because no one worked together. There was no collaborative effort. And that's where the broken down issues came in, where only one felt like they had to get it and the rest didn't get it. And we need to stop it. We need to work together as a team and as Caymanians, because at the end of the day, the country is for all of us Caymanians. It's for us.
So when are your next meetings coming up on the weekend? This will air.
I'm having a meeting tonight.
This is airing tomorrow, so this won't.
Okay, so
it's Friday.
my next meeting will be on the group meeting. Will be a meet and greet on Monday evening.
Where you
the party? We're having that at A.L. Thompson parking lot.
Okay,
and we're having another little meet and greet. So the party meeting is on Monday at A.L. Thompson parking lot. That's all of the candidates coming together to say a few little words and let the people know that, it's election is in 2 days at that point. And the Georgetown candidates, which is Georgetown East, Georgetown West, and Georgetown South, and Georgetown Central will meet on Melmac Avenue on Tuesday evening. So we'll make that more of a meet and greet and a social event. Is that the
corner of Melmac and Walker's Road?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That yard there.
Yeah, Thompson Yard.
Okay.
Mr. Thompson Yard. So we will be meeting there on Tuesday, and that will be the finale. And each candidate from our party will have in their respective districts an area, apart from, for example, in East End and we have West Bay would have their little meetings. But our 4 Georgetown candidates would meet on Tuesday. But on Monday, it would be all of the candidates in Georgetown.
So people, if anybody out there that you haven't reached or whatever, and if anybody is interested in getting in contact with you, how do they reach out to you?
Okay, so if they want to reach me, I need to make sure I get that number now. To make sure I get that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so a number that I don't call myself. Carmen calling herself.
It's funny. I grew up. I I only remembered. There's only a few numbers I actually remember. It's my childhood number, which before the 94 came in place, it was 71777. That was my childhood number. I remember that. And then my parents' number, my number. That's it. I don't know
anything else. Yeah. This number is fairly new.
Oh, I also remember Domino's Pizza in Savannah, 1188.
Yes,
yeah, man.
Call that a lot. Call that a lot. Me too. So for my direct number for my campaign would be 323-7507. So it's 323-7507.
Right.
That's my campaign number for anyone that wants to reach me, or they could go on the party website also. You could send me WhatsApp on that number, call me directly, or send me an email at carmen.mcfield@nationalparty.ky.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Miss Carmen,
yes.
I thank you so much for coming to come and talk to me. I'll tell you after the show some of the thoughts I had during the show.
Yeah.
You made me emotional.
Really? I thought you would do your normal little jokes and we laugh, but I guess because I just so much passion of the things that I do. It's just that part. It wasn't. I guess it wasn't much for laughter. It was more like you feeling.
I felt the passion, man.
Yeah,
I felt your passion. All right. Whether you are on your way to work, from work, at work, doing work, not doing work, thank you for tuning in. This has been the LinkUp podcast Before the Ballot with our guest, Carmen McField. Until next time.